When you call the police in certain regions across Ontario and Manitoba, you might find yourself speaking with an AI agent.
Does is listens to the first portion of a call and decides if that's something that the AI system can handle on their own.
That gentleman is real. That's Brian Dodd with the Halton Regional Police. And he says Sarah, the name of the AI chatbot, is being used to handle non-emergency calls as a way to free up 911 operators for actual emergencies. For a closer look at its effectiveness, what it means for you, I'm joined this morning by Chris Lewis, CTV Public Safety Analyst. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
Okay, first of all, when you think of calling the police, typically it would be in a crisis or an emergency situation. But from what I understand from you, that is not always the calls that are coming through. What is considered a non-emergency call, and how often do police get these or nuisance calls?
Well, it's unbelievable the number of calls they get that are really nothing to do with active police work. People ordering pizzas or wanting a taxi cab. It's unbelievable, but ultimately, of the thousands of legitimate calls they get every day, only certain calls are really require an emergency response. People hurt, people injured, people in danger, crimes in progress, assaults in progress. Those sorts of things are a lot different than, you know, my mailbox got knocked down overnight. You know, there's no criminal at the scene. It's not a case where you have to rush lights and siren. And so those types of calls, although important to the caller, they tie up emergency communicators that could be responding to the waiting list of calls that are of an emergent nature. So it's all about saving their valuable time and not having to hire 100 more every year because of all the calls that really don't require an emergency response.
Brian Dodd, the gentleman that we were showing earlier, was telling us that their Halton station receives 160,000 of those non-emergency calls every year. That's just Halton. So I guess what people are wondering is, if I call the police and my call is directed to an AI chatbot like Sarah, what happens from there?
Well, it's going to ask you with a voice, and not one of those tin voices, but one that sounds like a human being. That's technology now. It's going to ask you some questions, and any of your responses will divert calls to other areas. For example, you say, "Are you guys hiring this year?" Well, let's put that call over to the recruitment section. Or how do I license my trailer? So it'll put the call through to the right person with the right information to give the proper response, as opposed to the old kind of voicemail type systems we still see in places of press 1 if it's this, press 2 if it's that, and on where you get to the point you just want to give up. This will be a much more effective use of technology in an effective way to help you get your needs met.
I guess it makes me wonder if there's certain keywords that it's listening for that you need to say if you are calling and it is an emergency.
And that's it. I mean, they've really thought this through, and it's not that difficult with AI technology, apparently, and I don't totally understand it, to do that, to put phrases and words and things in there that would indicate, okay, this better go to a communicator. It may not be an emergency, but let's have a real person sort it out.
AI is not new, but in this context, it is. So what are some of the risks that could come along with using AI to respond to non-emergency calls? And do you have any concerns you'd be watching for?
I don't have any concerns. I was in charge of our comm centers in the OPP, which, of course, there's a pile of them, and they take a lot of calls for years, so I understand some of the challenges they face. I'm not concerned about this because at any time someone could actually end up getting a real communicator if they need one. So really, it's like the frustrations of the voicemail systems we encounter now in many cases, even if we call CTV, for example, that you have to press a bunch of buttons and listen to a whole pile of things. This will be quicker. It'll get you to who you're looking for quicker in a much more effective way. The frustration for some people is going to be, I want to talk to a live body.
Right.
But unfortunately, there's a huge tax cost to having those live bodies sitting there waiting for you to answer every little question you might have that may not be emergent. So people have to understand this is a good way to do business. It's going to meet their needs and still be cost effective.
Speaking of live bodies, the concern around AI outside of the emergency context is jobs and technology replacing people. So what does this mean for the roles of the humans who are actually handling the calls?
This, for Halton, to use the Halton example, or Winnipeg, who was doing this as well, it's not going to suddenly take 10 people out of their comm center. What it's going to do is save valuable time for people that are really waiting to talk to a person for a valid reason, from sitting there, for no reason at all. It's going to direct the call to the right people. It's going to be very effective, and it's not going to be a job-cutting measure, but it's going to make the people they do have in there way more efficient, less stressed out, and a better system overall.
Chris Lewis, CTV Public Safety, the analyst. Listen, I hope you have a direct line to our control room and you're not going through the call switchboard.
No, not at all.
Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Have a good one.
You too.